The Downtown Joplin Alliance announces a new partnership for the future of the Joplin Depot. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with what could be next for the future of the building.
The Federal Reserve raises interest rates by the most in 20 years. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with reaction from economists on whether it's enough to help fight inflation coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abby. Joplin's Union Depot used to be unlike any other train station in its time, but it's been vacant now for more than 50 years. Just last year, it was placed on Missouri's Places in Peril list. Earlier today, though, the Downtown Joplin Alliance, State Historic Preservation Office of Missouri, and the Glenn Group announced a partnership to try and save the building. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky reports.
Particularly appropriate that we are making this announcement in May because May is Historic Preservation Month. So this kicks off Historic Preservation Month very nicely for Joplin.
That announcement is to revitalize the Joplin Union Depot, which has sat empty in downtown Joplin for over 50 years. The building itself is a part of Missouri's history. After opening in 1911, the depot serviced the Kansas City Southern, Missouri, Kansas, Texas, as well as the Santa Fe railroads.
It's been here for over 100 years, and people in the community have seen it sit empty since 1969 when the last train left the depot.
Now, there are efforts underway to bring new life to the building while preserving its historic significance.
The depot is a perfect example of how preservation isn't just about saving buildings, it's about saving the stories of all the people who are affiliated with the building.
In order to revitalize, the group will need to find a developer, and that's where the Glenn Group comes in.
So we are going to be marketing it on a national as well as a local level to commercial real estate developers.
Gibson says they're looking for people who have experience with a building like this.
We will target preservation specialists, people who have worked in this field before and have experience, because we want to make sure that the person taking on this project is able to do it.
For now, it's a waiting game to see what will actually become of the building.
There'd probably be some sort of mixed use and commercial, obviously, in that location, but we're kind of just leaving it wide open.
The building is already on some national listings, and the Glenn Group has started to roll out their marketing on social media. Meteorologist Nick Kelly is joining us now. Firstly, the forecast. Another dreary, cool day. Nick?
Yeah, so much to talk about too, Jordan. In addition to the dreary day, you saw the lightning flash from 7th and Rangeline. 49 was a low, 55 so far for the high. Couldn't warm up much because of the clouds and the rain. The big headline here was so many flood watches still going until 1 o'clock. I got some aerial flood warnings for Chautauqua, Elk, and Montgomery counties until 1:45 Thursday afternoon. We've got the Neosho River near Commerce running high until Sunday. We've got another flood warning for parts of Berry County until we get into Thursday morning because of all this rain that we picked up so far. But when we come back for full weather, Jordan, we'll see how much more rain we'll see out of the system, and we're going to finally improve our setup here in a few.
Kelly, thank you so much. As always, we all know the threat of severe weather in this area. How a building is constructed can go a long way, keeping safe when that severe weather strikes. Well, now, Joplin Area Habitat for Humanity is building a home to the fortified standard set by the Insurance Institute for Businesses and Home Safety. The home features walls with 6 inches of concrete that can withstand winds up to 130 miles an hour.
We look to involve this in our future and add it to another component for a safe, well-built house to be even better for a homeowner who's coming in from a situation and from a low-income situation that's never had a house like this. And not only is it built well and safe, but it's built even extra strong.
Habitat officials say this is the first home in the Show Me State to meet the fortified standard. Pitt State today showcased the hard work of several students who did community-based projects. Some displays were set up in Russ Hall today, highlighting projects like collecting food for the Wesley House and raising money to buy sewing machines for Afghan refugees.
The overall goal is to form a sewing circle and also to have some sort of women's circles with healing activities to help with all of the trauma and PTSD issues, loneliness, social connectivity, so all of the issues that are part of this community.
Students who took part in these community-based projects are majoring in social work. Pivotal day for the economy and the markets, with Fed Chair Jerome Powell announcing interest rates are going to rise by a 0.5 percentage point. The move, which makes borrowing more expensive, aims to bring down historic inflation. Today, President Biden spoke about his administration's response to rising prices. Fox's Madeline Rivera has a closer look now from Washington.
President Biden touting a win Wednesday.
We're on track to cut the federal deficit by another $1.5 trillion by the end of this fiscal year, the biggest decline in a single year ever in American history.
The president stressing that decreasing the deficit would help ease inflation. But the announcement also comes as the Federal Reserve raises interest rates by a 0.5 percentage point, the biggest hike in more than 2 decades.
We're strongly committed to restoring price stability. Against the backdrop of the rapidly evolving economic environment, our policy has been adapting, and it will continue to do so.
The Fed is rolling back the stimulus it pumped into the economy during the pandemic. Wednesday's move is meant to slow down spending and combat soaring prices.
Gas prices are killing me. I'm losing every single paycheck. Everything's going straight to gas, groceries.
Some financial experts are applauding the increase.
It's exactly the right move. I think they're spot on.
Still, other economists warn the higher costs of buying a car, a home, or a credit card could put more strain on American families, raising fears of a recession.
We saw negative GDP last quarter because inflation is running so high. They've got to slow down inflation. They need to get ahead of the curve.
The Federal Reserve is also looking to reduce its balance sheet, another policy tightening move as it tries to fight inflation. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Battle lines have been drawn as a debate into reproductive rights gets center stage. Protests erupted across the U.S. after a Supreme Court draft opinion leak earlier this week suggested they could reverse Roe versus Wade. Fox News correspondent David Spunt has more from D.C.
The White House is clearly gearing up for a fight after the leak of the draft Supreme Court ruling. Vice President Kamala Harris blasted the GOP at a gala for a pro-choice group on Tuesday night. The president weighed in on Wednesday, continuing that line of attack, calling supporters of former President Trump, quote, extreme, and suggesting other rights could soon come under scrutiny by the high court.
What are the next things that are going to be attacked? Because this MAGA crowd is really the most extreme political organization that's existed in American history.
This seems to be a main concern for Democrats who believe if Roe v. Wade is struck down, a host of other rights, including same-sex marriage, will be next. Meanwhile, Republicans are still expressing outrage over the leak of this draft opinion, casting it as an illegal attempt to influence the justices before the final ruling is handed down.
This has never happened. And this is as corrosive, as destructive to the Supreme Court as we've ever seen.
And with the possibility abortion rights could be left up to individual states, more focus is being put on where the practice could become illegal. At least 26 states are expected to effectively ban abortion if Roe is struck down.
As a result of all of this, tens of millions of women may lack access to reproductive health care services as soon as this summer, if that were a decision to be made.
It's also not clear how this leak will impact the calls from some Democrats to increase the number of justices on the court. At the Supreme Court, David Spunt, Fox News.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. F.A. Beasley served in the U.S. Air Force from 1943 to 45. Native of Pittsburgh, Beasley was stationed in Europe, earning several awards. And we are proud to thank and salute Staff Sergeant F.A. Beasley. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast and a bit later. Pitt State men aiming to continue their conference dominance in the MIAA Outdoor Championships this weekend. Going to hear from the team in sports.
We just can't seem to shake off the rain chances. In fact, we're going to continue with nothing but that as we continue throughout the course of the night. Here's the Skywar storm tracker showing the few showers that picked up early this morning. Then once that cleared out, we've had nothing but periods of redeveloping and training showers and thunderstorms, and this has really added up in terms of estimated rainfall. Just for today alone, almost 1.5 inches across the entire area, but some areas picking up more than that average of 1.5 inches. So not only does that result in flood watches until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, all the rain that we've seen over the past few days and today's rain already resulted in flood warnings for Chautauqua, Elk, And in Montgomery County on the Kansas side, we've got a flash flood warning for all of Crawford County until 3 a.m. And then we've got the Neosho River near Commerce running high until we get into Sunday evening. And then more flood concerns across northeastern parts of Berry County. And the rain, unfortunately, it's not done yet. We have more developing strong thunderstorms, maybe a couple cells around the Cherokee-Ottawa County line, trying to flare up with some penny-sized hail. But all of the severe weather, fortunately, has been staying to the south, where we've seen quite a few tornadoes touch down across parts of eastern and central Oklahoma, including some nasty tornadoes just west of Wichita Falls. Rain and lightning on cue from 7th and Rangeline. We are sitting at 56 in Joplin. This is where we're going to primarily hold steady throughout the course of the night, and not just in Joplin. Everybody pretty much in the 50s for now, maybe some lower 60s still in northeastern parts of Oklahoma. But the rain machine is going to keep on churning since we have this slow moving system at the surface and an upper level low coming out of Colorado. Fortunately, the placement of that warm front along the I-40 corridor keeps the real bulk of the severe weather, thankfully, south of the region. That being said, Doug and I are keeping an eye on the overnight, because if some of those storms can get together into a complex, that could try and clip our southern counties. That's a possibility we're watching closely. But again, the biggest severe threat is going to stay mainly south of the region. But all this rain and thunderstorms will continue throughout the night into tomorrow morning. But look at late Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon. A bit of a break in the action before we see that cold front with this storm system start to come on in and fire off more thunderstorms late in the afternoon. 56 in the morning, 67 by noon, highs near 73. We'll get these thunderstorms out of here once we get past 7, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, a few showers Friday morning, then the system, it's gone. And we'll be glad to get rid of it, because when this system clears out, we could pick up an additional 1 to almost 4 inches of rain. Then the other big story going into the weekend, once the system clears out, we've been quite chilly for the past few days, but look at this upper level ridge building in for early next week. This is going to result in a big time warm up as we go into not only Mother's Day, but early next week. Here's what I mean, Jordan. 73 on Thursday, 65 Friday, then 82 on Saturday. We're talking about numbers Sunday through next Wednesday that we don't see until late May or early June. Upper 80s for highs.
I'm for it. I like those temperatures. Hey, you're big into Star Wars, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I busted that, huh? You're really not.
But I do like it, but I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I like it.
All right, well, nonetheless, today, May 4th, is a special day for Star Wars fans. The date lines up perfectly for the franchise's signature line, May the 4th be with you. To celebrate, the Joplin Public Library is hosting an event called Star Wars Days. The library strikes back. Some of the activities include build your own droid, I spy with my Jedi, scavenger hunt, and more.
Yeah, so one of our things that we really want to do is just to connect our community to all the myriad of resources that we can connect them to.
The library's Star Wars events will run through Friday. All right, coming up, you may have noticed the high prices of eggs at the grocery store. We're going to hear about farmers facing 2 specific challenges.
Chef Anthony.
KBI late tonight announcing a homicide investigation in Allen County. The Allen County Sheriff's Office says a man was found dead yesterday in a shop outside of his home in rural La Harpe. That man is identified as 68-year-old Richard Deal. Authorities say preliminary autopsy results indicate that Deal was murdered. Officials are not releasing more information at this time. Bird flu cases continue soaring across the U.S., posing serious concerns for poultry farmers. Fox News' Matt Politano has more on the severity of the outbreak, plus why the virus is not the only crisis currently impacting farmers and your wallet.
Bird flu continues spreading across the country. The USDA now reporting cases in at least 34 states, with high concentrations across the Northeast, Midwest, and Southeast. But out west, poultry farmers are just as scared.
Pretty much, if we were to get it, we would have to depopulate all the birds.
Health officials say this is the worst outbreak of avian flu since 2015. The virus poses low risks for people, but is extremely contagious for chickens, turkeys, and several species of wild birds. It's already resulted in the death of more than 24 million birds nationwide, at least 19 million of those being egg-laying chickens, causing farmers to increase safety measures to prevent their flocks from possible exposure.
We do what's called enhanced biosecurity, so we always do the foot baths. We always make sure vehicles get cleaned before they come into the bird area. We don't share equipment between the buildings.
Meantime, bird flu is not the only concern facing farmers, as skyrocketing inflation makes it outrageously expensive for them to operate their businesses.
My feed is up over 100%. Fuel's up 40%. Packaging is up, depending on the packaging, 25%. Labor, 10 to 15%. So the way we deal with it is we're tied to the market and the eggs that we sell.
But selling eggs is also proving difficult. The Department of Agriculture reports the nationwide average cost for a dozen eggs is up roughly 44% from last year. Some farmers say the high costs are leading to a reduction in egg consumption, causing grocery stores to purchase less eggs from them than normal. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Those are some loud chickens. Still ahead, Russia using more strength.
Russian forces unleashing more strikes on Ukraine as Western leaders consider additional sanctions. I'm Griff Jenkins in Kyiv. I've got the details coming up.
Russian forces launching more strikes on Ukraine. The attacks coming as the U.S. and European countries are considering more sanctions against Moscow. Fox News correspondent Griff Jenkins says more.
Supply lines in Ukraine coming under fire. Russia says it used guided missiles to hit multiple railway stations across the country that are used to supply Ukrainian forces with Western-made weapons. Russia's defense ministry vowing today to target future NATO shipments.
We view any transport of the North Atlantic Alliance arriving on the territory of the country with weapons or materials destined to the Ukrainian army as a legitimate target to be destroyed.
The warning comes as Russia ramps up its attacks on civilian areas. A fresh wave of missile strikes in Lviv knocked out power and disrupted the water supply. While in Mariupol, the situation remains dire. Nearly 160 people sheltering in a steel mill have been evacuated, but hundreds more remain inside. Some Western officials fear Russian President Vladimir Putin could use May 9th, or Victory Day, to declare a limited victory in a city like Mariupol. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the world won't see it that way.
They don't have victories. The loss of people, it's not a victory. They want to show what kind of czars they are.
Meanwhile, the European Union is weighing another round of sanctions, including a potential ban on Russian oil imports. In the U.S., President Biden also says he's not ruling out more punishment for Moscow.
I'll be speaking with the members of the G7 this week about what we're going to do or not do.
The U.S. and European countries are also pledging to step up weapons shipments to Ukraine. In Kyiv, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Next, what the majority of Americans are planning on doing for Mom on her special day this weekend.
When it comes.
All right, so the clock is ticking. If you want to surprise Mom on Mother's Day, according to the National Retail Federation, nearly 84% of adults are expected to spend on Mom. About 75% are going to get a greeting card. More than 70% will get flowers. And roughly more than half are going to take Mom out in a special outing. That's what we're going to do. We got some plans this weekend. National Retail Federation predicts in total Americans are going to spend more than $31 billion on Mother's Day. That's up, by the way, more than $3 billion compared to last year. Moms do so much. Important we thank them, right? Yeah. Nick Kelly, you said yeah. Thank you. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
Identical twin doctors land at the same residency. I'm Jalen Banks with more on the story.
Alabama murder suspect and the prison guard who may have helped him escape. I'm Steve Harrigan in Atlanta. That story ahead.
Two adopted identical twins going to soon become doctors when they graduate from KCU Joplin. KOAM's Jalen Banks has their story.
Alexis and Morgan Claire are identical twins. Shortly after they were born, they were adopted from South Korea and spent their upbringing in California and Florida. At a young age, they discovered a passion that would alter the course of their lives for the better. They wanted to become doctors, not for themselves, but to help others.
A big thing, kind of life goal of ours, once we make it through general surgery residency and beyond,
we'd love to give back to the community, and for me, surgery kind of lends itself very well to giving back definitive treatment and management to people who perhaps can't afford it otherwise.
This weekend, the Clare sisters will fulfill that lifelong dream and receive their doctorate from Kansas City University Joplin. But the journey does not end there for them. They both land at the same residency at Beaumont Health Hospital in Dearborn, Michigan.
We didn't purposely match together, but we both put our highest ranks and we did it individually, and it just so happened that Beaumont ended up being our top program each. So we went into it thinking it would be really fortunate if we were together, because you always have a teammate, you always have somebody who's going to support you.
The sisters say that teamwork is a big part of their journey.
At least for us, it's like you tend to work harder when you have a partner because you know that person's relying on you. In that same sense, I push her, she pushes me. It really helps us be the best versions of ourselves, and it also keeps you very kind of grounded and humble in just remaining a good person.
Very few people or things can lay claim to the title, match made in heaven, but the Clare sisters can certainly add themselves to the list. In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
The sisters' residency will start in June. School's almost over, which means kids are going to have more free time for activities like riding bikes. When riding a bike, of course, it's always important to be safe, wear a helmet. So, Joplin-based law firm Aaron Sachs and Associates today donated bike helmets to kindergarten students at Stapleton Elementary.
So that they can go home, and maybe it would encourage them to be more excited about it and have the opportunity to do something at home, and also to be able to do that safely.
Aaron Sachs and Associates say they have distributed around 30,000 helmets over the past 20 years. Prison escape seemingly ripped right out of a Hollywood movie script. An inmate and a correctional officer allegedly running away together after a daring escape. That's exactly what happened in one Alabama prison. Now warrants have been issued for both. Fox News correspondent Steve Harrigan has more from Atlanta.
New details emerging about the special relationship between an Alabama corrections officer and an inmate after police say she willingly helped him break out of prison. Assistant Corrections Director Vicki White and inmate Casey White, no relation, have not been seen since their daring escape on Friday, and authorities now believe the two were in a romantic relationship.
We know she violated protocol by taking him out by herself to start with, but obviously, she was walking in front of him. It's obvious that she wasn't concerned for her safety.
Security footage from the prison center showing the very moments when they walked out of the Lauderdale County Detention Center under false pretenses. Vicki White claimed she was taking him to a mental health checkup at a courthouse, but they both vanished minutes later. Authorities say they did not realize the two had gone missing until the patrol car was found abandoned in a shopping center parking lot.
You trust your employees, especially your ranking officers. Vicki White had never given me any indication that I couldn't trust her.
Vicki White has been a corrections officer for 17 years and was recently telling her co-workers that she was going to start her retirement Friday, the very day of the prison break. She even sold her house several weeks before. The two are considered armed and dangerous, and there's a $15,000 reward for any information leading to their capture. Police have also learned that the officer Vicki White visited the suspected murderer several times while he was in state prison. In Atlanta, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
A bit later, Amber Heard taking a stand in the Depp defamation trial. We're going to hear from her.
Plenty to unpack on this active Wednesday, so let's just dive right in with our look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Since this morning, scattered showers started picking up in our very far southern counties. They quickly passed on through, and then I guess for lack of a better expression, the floodgates, I hate saying that, but all this rain just unleashed on us in periods throughout the course of the day, averaging out to 1.5 inches across the entire region, but you can easily see some areas picking up more than that, and that is a big problem with rain that we picked up from Friday and earlier this week, still on the ground, and we're just adding more to it. So not only is that resulting in flood watches until 1 o'clock across the entire area, we've got aerial flood warnings for Elk, Chautauqua, and Montgomery counties on the Kansas side until tomorrow afternoon. A flash flood warning for all of Crawford counties as they picked up 1 to 3 just within the past few hours alone. That's in effect until 3 a.m. Then we got the Neosho River near Commerce running high, and another flood warning clipping northeastern parts of Berry County, all because of the rain we've seen so far, and more rain still coming on down, including a couple stronger storms trying to put down a little bit of small hail, especially to the southwest of Columbus, west of Baxter, right along the state line. In general, though, thankfully, the bigger severe threat has been staying to the south, where I was discussing this with Jordan earlier. So far, I've been able to confirm at least damage from Seminole, Oklahoma with a tornado-warned storm, and a small town southwest of Wichita Falls, Lockett, Texas. They took significant damage from a large tornado that finally occluded not too long ago. Here, we're just seeing a lot of rain. Plenty of that from 7th and Rangeline. It's 55 in Java with a northeast breeze at 7. The humidity sky high. No surprise given all the rain that we saw on the tower cam. Most of us in the 50s, a few lower 60s from the Wada and Veneta, and certainly more so as you are back closer to Tulsa. So the rain chances will just keep on coming for tonight, but the placement of the warm front with this system along the I-40 corridor, that helps us out. That's where the severe threat's going to stay for the rest of the night. We'll have to deal with the cold front tomorrow afternoon with this surface system, and this upper low still sitting over Colorado. All of these are slowly moving along, but eventually we're going to have these rain chances come to an end. But we're still keeping an eye on the rain and thunderstorm chances tonight. Eventually a complex of storms, mainly staying to the south, but it could clip some of our southern counties with maybe some minor wind gusts and hail, but something we're watching. Rain continuing into tomorrow morning, certainly by 7 a.m. But look at this, a little break in the action after the morning drive and to get the afternoon started. As far as temperatures go, we are going to see highs a little bit warmer tomorrow, thankfully. 56 in the morning, 67 by noon, and highs near 73. Then we'll have to deal with the cold front trying to fire off some additional storms tomorrow evening. They could be strong, something we're watching, but this is one takeaway I want to give you before we send things back over to Jordan. Until the rain clears out Friday morning, I think everyone's fair game to pick up 1 to almost 4 inches of rain. This rain we don't need, but once we get past Friday morning, it's out of here. We're drawing out for the weekend. 73 tomorrow, 65 Friday, 82 Saturday, and how about 88 for Sunday, Jordan? And we're staying in the upper 80s to get early next week started.
That's awesome. We are fortunate. There's no severe weather here tonight, but we're still, of course, thinking of the people down south.
Yeah, for us, though, just a couple severe thunderstorm warnings with maybe some quarter-size hail, but far timid compared to what they've seen.
Nick Kelly, thank you so much as always. You may have heard of the term non-fungible token. Some people say these new modern concepts are breaking down barriers and transforming the art world. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has an inside look at the groundbreaking museum showcasing these digital creations.
NFT stands for non-fungible token. Essentially, they're digital property that people can buy and collect. And while NFTs come in a variety of formats, the popularity of NFT art is on the rise. Now the world's first permanent NFT art museum, located in Seattle, is reinventing how consumers view and experience these futuristic mediums.
An NFT is really just a contract that signifies the ownership of an asset of some kind. It's getting used a lot for digital art because there hasn't been a place for storing that ownership for digital art in a way that was accepted across a wide range of people.
Before this museum, art aficionados say these digital creations weren't really being showcased like physical artwork.
We really realized the impact of being able to look at this type of art in a way where you actually slow down, you see all the details, you're not just scrolling through your phone.
But the museum is helping to change that, giving NFT art and its artists a tangible place to exist and show off their online work.
If you're looking at a specific artwork, you want to evaluate it in terms of what you're going to get from that, not necessarily just the resale or the investment opportunity. I think that is an aspect of NFT art, just like traditional art.
One of the main focuses of the museum is educating the public about NFT art. This motive comes at a good time. Financial analysts predict the global market for NFTs will reach more than $82 billion by 2026. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, all MIAA recognition for 13 local college softball players, plus a Pittsburgh High School senior signing to continue his football career in college. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The MIAA released its all-conference softball awards this afternoon. 6 Pittsburgh State Gorillas and 7 from Missouri Southern are on the all-MIAA list. Now, each school had 2 on the all-MIAA first team. Missouri Southern utility player Leighton Withers and outfielder Yasmin Vargas are on the first team. For Pittsburgh State, Paxton Hayes is a first-teamer at first base and Taylor Lambert, first-teamer at second. You can check out the full list of all-conference players on the sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Today's a big signing day at Pittsburgh High School. 4 Pittsburgh seniors signed today to continue their careers in college, including 3 who are moving on in athletics. Now, among those signing for sports, Gavin Deal will continue his football career at the next level. Deal signs today to play football at the University of St. Mary in Leavenworth, Kansas. He'll play on the offensive line and maybe a little defensive line for the Spires.
I had Coach O'Bray talk to the head coach. He was like, hey, I have a really special O-lineman to give you. And I went to go visit. Coach treated me like family. He's like, we treat people like family here, and I'm excited to go. I'm hoping I can be a leader like I was last year for football, and hopefully it'll be a good year for me.
You can check out our full interviews with all 4 Pittsburgh signees today on the story at sports page at KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, the regular season is over, and it's conference championship time for MIAA track and field. The Outdoor League Championships will begin on Friday at Emporia State. Now, for Pittsburgh State, both the men's and women's teams head into the MIAA Championships ranked in the top 10 in the nation. The Gorilla women are 9th this week, while the PSU men are number 5 in the latest rankings. For the men, they've won the Outdoor League Championship 5 straight years and 6 of the last 10. So they know they have a target on their backs, but they kind of like it that way.
I wouldn't say there's really any pressure. I feel like this is just who we are. We're just people that we're winners here at Pitt State. It's a culture of winning. It's a tradition of winning. And so we don't expect to go into this and come out any other way but victorious. And so I like the idea of people coming after us. I don't want to be the underdog. I don't want to be the dark horse. I want people to come and try to take stuff from us. And we're hungry and we're at the top of the mountain, but we're ready to fight whoever wants to come up it and try to take it from us.
The Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals meet this afternoon for the 4th and final time this season. The Royals are trying to earn a series split tonight with the Cards after dropping 2 of the first 3. KC coming off a big 7-1 win last night, trying to keep the bats rolling. That's not what happened though. Nolan Arenado homer here for the Cards in the first makes it 3-0. Later in the inning, Tyler O'Neill finds the gap out there in right center. Ends up being an RBI triple for O'Neill. Makes it 4-0 St. Louis. They would add 1 more in the first inning to go up 5. Adam Wainwright really good today. 7 shutout innings on the mound for St. Louis, allowing just 1 hit. Back to Nolan Arenado though here, finds the gap. That scores 2. Nolan Arenado 2 for 4 on the day, drives in 5. All Cardinals in this one. They go on to win 10-0. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Actress Amber Heard taking the stand today, delivering insight into the turbulent marriage between her and her ex-husband, Pirates of the Caribbean actor Johnny Depp. Fox's Anna Eliopoulos has more on this story.
Amber Heard takes the stand in her own defense Wednesday, more than 3 weeks after the high-stakes defamation trial kicked off in Fairfax, Virginia.
I struggle to have the words. I struggle to find the words to describe how painful this is.
The Aquaman actress went into detail about her multi-year marriage with actor Johnny Depp. Her testimony coming one day after a psychologist testified she diagnosed Heard with post-traumatic stress disorder, stemming from abuse, she says, Heard received at the hands of Depp.
I didn't know what to do. You would think you would have a response, but I, as a woman, had never been hit like that. I'm an adult, and I'm sitting next to the man I love, and he slapped me for no reason.
Dr. Dawn Hughes says she made the assessment after performing a mental health evaluation on Heard. She concluded that sexual violence was common during their marriage and says she believes the actress feared for her safety.
These weren't in loving moments. These were angry moments, moments of dominance, moments of him trying to get control over her.
Depp has denied any of these allegations and accused Heard of being the abuser during their marriage. The actor also claimed that his career was negatively affected after his ex-wife penned an op-ed piece in the Washington Post detailing her experience with domestic abuse. Depp is suing Heard for $50 million. Heard has countersued for $100 million in damages, alleging the actor's legal team tried to defame her by calling her claims a hoax. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Coming up, going to spend some time with Brooks and Dunn, hear about their new tour. Brooks and Dunn hitting the road with special guests and chart-topping hits, and we caught up with the duo as they bring big shows nationwide, visiting some cities they haven't been to in over a decade. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Award-winning country duo Brooks and Dunn return with big arena shows on the Reboot 2022 tour. They say crowds at their 2021 shows helped encourage this run.
A lot of young folks. I don't know if it came from a Reboot album that we made a couple of years ago, or Luke Combs and a lot of young country acts kind of flying our flag, and makes us feel good to have that support and to see a lot of new faces out there. But our core audience, it's kind of been propping us up since day one, singing the songs for those folks again.
Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn have many chart-topping hits for the set list, including those which get audiences dancing on the first note.
Oh, it's fun stuff. That's the top of the heap there.
That's really what you dream about when you're learning to tune your guitar when you're a kid, is someday having a song like that everybody will jump up and throw their hands in the air.
That Neon Moon TikTok challenge phenomenon may add another dance number now.
You look out and there's some people, they're ready to go, what is that like now?
That thing dropped out of the sky. That's a whole different anomaly.
You can see them out there doing the dance, though. It's stuck.
Along the way in this career as a duo, they've had solo projects too, and they share they've found working on both key for creativity.
Keeps things fresh, and stimulating. That's a big key. You never want to go see a band that's up on stage that's bored, doing something, just going through the motions. We don't do that. No matter how many times we've done a song, we don't do that.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with a video of a musk oxen taking some frustration out on a roller brush in Washington State. Take that and that. Then he's going to enjoy some watermelon that we're going to see in a little bit. Hey, be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.